And welcome back to another episode of Creep at 100. I am Mark. I am your host today, and I am yet again here with Kinson and Owen. Say hello, friends.
What's going on, guys?
Howdy.
And today we are going to be covering the very divisive film Halloween Kills. It premiered at the Venice Film Festival on September 8th of 2021. But the theatrical release was October 15th of 2021. Again, directed by David Gordon Green. And to be honest, I like this film a lot. I know a lot of people don't, though. So you know what? Let's get in here and let's break this shit down. Okay, so it opens up with almost a flashback. You kind of hear a scene from 2018. You hear Hawkins and Sartain arguing right before Sartain stabs Hawkins. You only hear the sound, and then it cuts over to Cameron, who is walking along this fence. He's trying to call Oscar, and we know that Oscar is fucking dead. Mm-hmm. So we get a nice little callback to that as well. It's actually pretty fucking disgusting. It shows Oscar dead again, and he's like, there's so much blood like pouring out of his wounds. Poor guy. Oscar did not deserve that, and I firmly I'll die on that hill.
He was kind of moving on.
You're allowed
girl,
to be
though.
Horny, bro.
Wow, hot take from Mark there.
Hot take.
Listen, yeah. But also, like, that's your boy.
Yeah, that is fucked up. But I don't think
that's your boy, and that's your boy's girl. Okay. Listen, I'm not saying that he deserved to be like straight murdered, but like, there are actions for your consequences, and that was one.
That's definitely an action. Do you see how I did that freehand too? I went nuts.
I know. Mark's currently showing us a drawing that he did while he was taking his notes of Michael.
Maybe Michael was horny for murder.
So, obviously. Hey, maybe we'll find out in ends why he kills people, bro. I mean...
I was just thinking that while I was watching, because I watched the movie this morning, and like kind of towards the end, obviously not jumping to anything in the context of the movie, but I was thinking about the next one and where they're going to take it, and I have a pretty good idea of what like the storyline is going to be, but I was like, I wonder if we're ever going to get like a solution of like the somewhat superhuman abilities and like things like that. I wonder if we'd ever get that, or I wonder if maybe the appeal and the whole point is to never know. Right.
I mean, we'll find out.
Yeah.
When we see the movie.
Yeah.
Next episode. A month away from the actual recording, but next episode.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it. I mean, I've got an idea of where the movie's going. They're doing a really good job of keeping a lot of the movie under wraps, though, which is great, because they showed way too much when they were promoting Halloween Kills.
True.
So with this movie, I'm really happy with the way they're promoting it, they're barely promoting it, which is kind of terrible from the studio standpoint, but good for fans.
Yeah, it's leaving a lot open to the imagination. I'll say that.
Yeah. I'm excited. I'm actually excited for Halloween Ends. So after Oscar doesn't answer his phone because he's dead, Cameron ends up finding Officer Hawkins bleeding out on the street. So Cameron hops the fence and he runs over. And Hawkins is still alive. I was so fucking happy about this when I saw the movie. So happy because I loved Hawkins. Was, like I said in the last episode, he was my favorite new character.
Mm-hmm. He was a really good addition.
Oh, I agree. So having him back was fucking hype as hell.
Yeah, I hope that he has something to do with like the next one, and they don't like write him off too much. I imagine he has a pretty big role in the next one.
I would think so.
It felt like a build-up.
I hope. We'll see what happens. I got theories about Hawkins. Owen knows them.
I've heard those theories.
And he doesn't like that. He doesn't like him.
Okay.
But I'm not going to talk about those theories today because today we're going to be talking about kills. So yeah, Cameron runs up to Hawkins. Hawkins wakes up super aggressive, and he's like, "Oh my god, fuck." No, he's not. He's like, "Oh god, it needs." I think he says it. He needs to die. Yeah, he needs to die. And Cameron's like, "Who? Who needs to die?" And then Hawkins is like, "And I'm the one that's gonna kill him." And then it cuts, hard cut to the 1978 flashback scene, which is probably, arguably, the best scene in the movie. No, there are good scenes, but this is top. Like this is definitely top 3 best scenes in the movie. This
Most
early
of it?
on. Mm-hmm.
Most of it's good.
Most of the flashback.
Most of the flashback is good. I have quarrels with this movie.
Okay,
as we'll find out when we go through.
Stop me when I get there.
Yeah, it's things that we've talked about, but like in the rewatch of it, I just couldn't get out of my own head thinking about them the whole time, and to the point where like there was a few times where like the movie got eye rolls. Literally, it's very specific lines, not whole parts, but just lines in general.
Oh, the dialogue in this movie sucks.
Yes, that was 90% of my problem, and it takes me out, bro.
Bad. Oh my god. I mean,
The
we talked
dialogue
about
in
this
this
after we saw the movie together. I was like, oh my god, what the fuck was that dialogue?
And then so I like really didn't think it was like, I was like, maybe we were blown out of proportion last time. In the rewatch, it got worse.
No,
it got worse in my head. And that's why I said most of the flashback is good, because there's one line in the flashback that took me out.
Which line was it?
It is the end of the flashback, which I feel like you're going to talk about, so I will stop you then.
Yes, I'm going to, because the end of the flashback's fucking cool. So, yeah, it cuts to it's a hard cut to the 1978 flashback, and Hawkins is chasing Michael. And he's like, "Michael, stop." And he fires at Michael, and Michael walks, almost, it appears that he walks through a fence. Mm-hmm. I see what they're going for there. Trying to hit that, like, mystique of 1978, but they shouldn't have. They really shouldn't have. They should have kept it more human-like than supernatural.
It should have just been an alley.
Yeah, no, seriously. And he just should have vanished in, like, the fucking alleyway instead of literally walking through a fence.
Maybe he turned into the fence. We don't know.
Maybe.
True,
Maybe. Michael built different.
He could be a fence.
Yeah. So Hawkins gets to the fence, and he's like, what the fuck, where'd he go? And then a bunch of other cops show up, and they're like, where'd he go? Where'd he go? And Hawkins is trying to explain to them, like, I swear to God, the man just walked through the fucking fence, bro.
Yeah, that was funny. I liked that part where he was just like, he like, it's not like he like forced like the whole like mysticism thing. He was literally like, I don't know. He was like, he just went this way, but there's a fence, so I don't get it. I like that they like he also didn't get it, and he didn't say some like, well, he is the boogeyman or some goofy shit like that.
We do get, unfortunately, we do get a lot of that in this movie.
Yeah, we do.
I you know what? Here's why. Actually, I'll get into this at the end. I'll explain why I like this movie so much at the end.
Okay.
Yeah. So two cops end up going one way, and then Hawkins and McCabe go another way. And McCabe is explaining to Hawkins that he used to be friends with Michael when they were kids, and all Michael would do was stare out the bedroom window. And he's like, I don't know what the fuck he could be staring at. And then Hawkins, and this line comes back once more in the movie. Hawkins says, he's looking at Haddonfield, a simple town where nothing exciting ever happens. I know. It's just like, damn, bro.
Never mind. There's two lines in the flashback that are annoying. That's one. I forgot that.
See, I feel like because they added more writers for this film.
So it was like, do you think it was like too many ideas in one pot?
One of those writers
like kind of thing?
Fired. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was fine with like him saying it the first time, but it was like the second time he says it, I was like, bro, what are you on about? Like, why are you saying it here and now?
Oh yeah, the second, it's so out of place for the setting that he's in.
I got ahead of myself.
I set it up. Yeah. I already set it up. They know it's coming back. And then it cuts to this sequence with Lonnie Elam getting bullied by the ugliest kids I've ever seen in my fucking life.
Hey yo, what? Come on, man.
No, for real, dude. Ugly ass kids, bro. They all look like the cover of like Because of Winn-Dixie. They all look like the kid from that.
So as Lonnie Elam is getting bullied, and if that name sounds familiar, it's because he's a very, very minor character in 1978.
Yeah.
I think it's really cool how Lonnie comes back in such a big way in this movie.
I agree.
But we'll get that. We'll get to that when we get to modern day.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, as he's getting bullied, this police car shows up, and the cop in the car is like, "Hey, have you guys seen anybody in a white mask?" And this bitch, bro, has the audacity to say, "It's Halloween. Everyone's wearing a mask." Like, if a cop came up to me and asked me that, I'd be like, "Why? Like, why? Why? What's happening?" Like, I would be scared. Well, then the cop explains, like, that Michael Myers killed people down the street. You guys should probably head home. And then the cop continues to search for Michael. And on the way home, Lonnie trips and falls and has a very, very short encounter with Michael right in front of the Myers house. Yeah, literally what happens is Michael kind of just walks up to him, Lonnie freaks out, and then Michael just goes into his house.
Yeah.
That's the encounter that Lonnie had.
Yeah.
I mean, which is horrifying.
Yeah. Because he knows. He knows who
But
it
people
is,
had
because
it
the
worse,
police.
is all I'm saying.
I mean, yeah, the dead ones.
So then, yeah, these cops come to Lonnie and they're like, "Yo, what are you doing? You all right?" And he's like, "Hey, bro, I swear to God, I just saw the boogeyman. No cap." No cap.
Yeah, that's what he said, word for word, actually.
Word for word. Actually,
Yeah.
that'd be better if he said that.
Dude, yeah, it's the most, like, out-of-time piece ever, and he just, like, still...
What?
He says
Who'd
no
you
cap.
see? The boogeyman. Like, okay.
On God.
No cap. So, the cops end up seeing the Myers house, and they're like, "There it is. This is where it happened. Let's give it a shot. Let's go look for Michael in here." They go in, and they start searching the house, and I really, really like the callback of the dog half-eaten in one of the rooms. That was really cool. And, oh my God, props to the set designer in this movie, because they just spot on. They built that. They built the entire street of Lambkin Lane in a studio.
Oh, yeah, I do remember seeing the back, like, behind-the-scenes, like, neighborhood. It was cool.
Yeah, they did a good-ass job, too. It's spot on. Even even like the neighboring houses, they're exactly the same.
Sick-ass paintball map.
Oh?
Imagine.
I would paintball in Haddonfield. Yep. So they go into the house. They're searching for Michael. McCabe goes upstairs and into Judith's room. He looks out the window. And this is when that line comes back. Looking at Haddonfield. Simple town where nothing ever happens. And before the man can finish it, Michael comes out and fucking wrecks him. Ah, God. Michael literally darts out of the fucking closet, grabs him, and starts slamming him against the wall. And I really like that Michael has his rope there. Like the rope he stole from the hardware store in the first movie. And he's using it to choke McCabe. And Hawkins comes up. Oh, God. Characters make some dumbass decisions in this movie. He's holding his gun. He's like, "Michael, drop him. Please, please, bro, please." And he ends up shooting, and he shoots McCabe right in the fucking throat, bro.
Yeah.
Michael
That's
sees,
rough.
well, my victim's dead. I'm going to move on. Michael just leaves. Just walks out, which I love. I love that Michael... Here's the thing, bro. Michael Myers, this is the best Michael Myers I've seen in any Halloween movie, is in this movie. That's one of the strongest points of this movie for me, is how great Michael is. Everything else kind of falls a little flat, but Michael's fucking
I was about
sick
to say,
in this
okay.
movie.
You know what? I will absolutely 100% give that to you.
Yeah, Michael's
I
fucking
agree
sick in this
100% on
movie.
that one. He is sick. Everything when he is on screen, fire. Everything else, bye. Don't need.
Not everything else, but the hospital scenes are pretty fucking mid. But we'll get to those. We'll get to those. So Hawkins, he tries to chase Michael down. He starts shooting at Michael, and then he goes back into the room because, like, I should probably save my friend. I just shot him in the fucking throat. And as Michael's leaving, we see all these cop cars kind of pull up, and my man is surrounded. And as Hawkins is, with McCabe for his last moments, McCabe's like, hey, man, we got him. We got him. And Hawkins is like, yeah, we got him. So then Hawkins walks out of the room, and oh my god, Dr. Loomis runs in. This amazing, which I thought was deepfake when I first saw it.
I did too.
It's all practical effects. It's actually, that was a set designer. Yeah, that was a set designer on set in practical effects makeup. He runs in, and he's like, did Michael kill again? Or no, Officer Hawkins, what happened? What happened in here? Did Michael kill?
That's the other line.
Did Michael kill again?
That's the other line.
Could have been better, but
like.
Also that kind of makes sense for the Dr. Loomis character.
Yeah, I think it might have been a problem with just like how he said it. Kind of irritated me.
Yeah,
when he said, "Did Michael kill again?"
Well, Dr. Loomis has a bit of a English accent.
He does, but like that felt like over dramatized the way he said it.
Well, that's not Donald Pleasance. It's
not
that voice you hear is not even that actor that played Dr. Loomis.
Yeah,
it's a comedian that does a decent job of voicing Donald Pleasance, who has a very unique voice, and I give him props there because it sounds a lot better than the other Dr. Loomises we've had over the years.
Yeah, it sounds correct. Loomis looks great. Just don't like the line.
And then we get this incredible shot of Michael on the porch, surrounded by cops, and it pans out just as it did in the very first movie when Michael got caught by his parents after he killed Judith. And then we get our title card, and we get to hear another updated version of the Halloween theme song, this time with a choir. Luckily for you boys, I got our sound clip set up, so you'll be hearing this live with us. So yeah, which is badass. Adding the choir to the Halloween theme, 10 out of 10. Good job, John Carpenter. This is best soundtrack too. Best soundtrack in a Halloween movie by far. By far. So yeah, we get the title sequence, and throughout the title sequence we see 12 pumpkins, representing the 12 Halloween movies that we have gotten, which I thought was super cool. After we get our opening sequence, we then meet Marcus and Vanessa. They're at this bar drinking. And you may look at them and be like, oh, they kind of look familiar. It's because they are familiar. They are the nurse and the doctor from the Halloween 2018 movie that got into the car in the one big tracking shot.
Mm-hmm.
And they're kind of getting annoyed with the people behind them, who turn out to be Lindsay Wallace, Marion Chambers, Alani Elam, and Tommy Doyle. All from the original movie. So Lonnie goes up on stage, and he's like, listen, you guys are about to hear the most captivative bird whistler you've ever fucking seen. Tommy walks up on stage, and he's like, listen, I'm not going to bird whistle for you. But I'll tell you what, I'll tell you the story about the Haddonfield Boogeyman. So Tommy just kind of explains what happened to... and this scene fucking sucks.
Yeah, it does. It's horrible. It is literally... Tommy Doyle gets up and does a poetry slam and then says, wow, that's a cool bat, to the bartender. That's it. Next scene.
No, that didn't even happen. It didn't even happen yet. The bat scene happens later.
Does it?
So Tommy basically... They do in the next bar scene.
Oh.
So basically, Tommy just explains what happened to everyone in 1978. He talks about the kills, he talks about Laurie, and he then mentions that he was the kid that Laurie was babysitting. He then shouts out everyone that's sitting at the bar. He's like, listen, Lindsay's fucking babysitter got murdered. Marion Chambers survived an assault. Lonnie survived an encounter.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's like, listen, let's make a toast. And he goes, this is for you, Laurie, wherever you are. And this is my favorite transition in the fucking movie. As he says that, it cuts right back to where Halloween 2018 left off. And we see Laurie, Karen, and Allison in the back of the truck. They're heading towards the hospital, and a bunch of fire trucks pass, and Laurie's screaming at the fire trucks to let it burn. I'll tell you, man, this sequence from here to the end of this sequence, this scene is also top 3.
I agree with that.
Holy fuck. Like, this movie might be terrible, but I'll tell you what, this definitely has some of the best scenes in a Halloween movie.
Yeah.
This one made me, like, scared of Michael. Like, before it was like Michael was creepy, but, like, this one, I'm, like, scared of him in this one. Like, I don't want to see him. I'm scared.
He's got some
job.
I mean, as we'll talk about in a second, but he's got some rage in him this time. Like, man is entering his fucking full potential right now.
Oh
and he's
God,
going.
I would be pissed too if I got trapped in a blazing house.
Yeah, he is mad, and he shows it to anybody around except for Lonnie. Spare that man. I know that wasn't the same time, but it's the only man he didn't kill, and that baby from the first one. Or 2018, sorry, not the first one.
Yeah. So these two firefighters go into the house. Unfortunately, the floor kind of breaks underneath one of them, and he falls into Laurie's basement. And Michael's not in there at first, so at first you're like, all right, where the fuck is he? And as the firefighters calling Mayday, we see, and this is so smart, Michael went into the gun locker to protect himself from the fire.
Mm-hmm.
The gun locker opens, Michael comes out, he grabs the Halligan tool that the firefighter dropped and just beats the fuck out of his brain. Well, the other firefighter comes in, he's like, hey, where are you? Where are you? Grab my hand. And as he's reaching his hand down there, Michael grabs onto him and pulls him in. And then Michael fucking walks out of the house looking like a fucking badass.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that scene is so cool.
That is a really good scene.
And then he takes on the entire firefighter force of Haddonfield and wins.
Yep. All 11 of them.
All 11 of them. All 11 first responders, bro. Gone. Destroyed. With a Halligan and a buzzsaw, baby.
Mm-hmm.
And a dream.
And a dream.
And a dream.
You know what? Actually, this one also, I think, has the best kills.
Mm-hmm.
At least in my opinion, out of all of them. It has, like, if I had, like, a top 5 list, this one has probably 4 of them.
Yeah, this movie has insane kills.
Starting with the buzzsaw one in that scene. That is a good one. It's not, like, top 3, but I think it's 4.
I mean, that's fair, man.
I think it's 4.
I remember just watching that, and I'm just like, God damn. Hearing the firefighter scream.
Wasn't it?
The scream wasn't in the trailer, but you can just hear him screaming as he's tearing into his skull. It's fucked up.
And right before he kills the one with the saw as well, one of my favorite pieces of, like, character acting by James Jude Courtney is after he stabs the one firefighter and lifts him in the air and lets go, he, like, just throws the Halligan bar on the ground. And the way he throws it is just like, I'm done with this, I'm going for that saw now. And the way he does it is just so creepy, and it's, like, so, like, he's like a shark. Like, that's what Mark said, I think, last episode. He was like, he's like a shark, and you see that in the flashback as well, but this scene kind of just drove the point home for me.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. When Michael sees his prey, he is, he's set on it. He's set on it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I love that about him. We love dedication. And then it cuts to the hospital. And we're going to take a break here because I need a break before we get into this boring-ass shit.
Fair enough.
All right, we'll be back in a few. This episode is pretty scary. But what's scarier is not having access to your favorite Paramount horror films like Friday the 13th, A Quiet Place, and Scream. With Paramount Plus, you have access to a mountain of entertainment, groundbreaking originals, iconic movies, hilarious reality shows, game-winning sports, and so much more. It's all here on Paramount Plus. Plans start as low as $4.99. If you bundle with Showtime, you can save up to 28%. This was a pretty intense episode, so if you need something lighthearted to distract your mind, Click the link in the description below to sign up for a free trial. And we're back. So Laurie's getting wheeled into the hospital. Karen and Allison kind of come in behind her, and as Karen's trying to tell the nurse, like, her name's Laurie Strode, it's Laurie Strode, we get this amazing cameo by Charo Cyphers, who played Sheriff Brackett in the original Halloween, who's now a security guard at the hospital. He turns over and he's like, Laurie. Laurie. It's pretty badass. I love that. And throughout this entire sequence, we see Karen just breaking down, which I love because in 2018, we didn't really see a reaction to her husband being killed. And we get a full-on breakdown in this movie. Like, she is bawling. Washing blood off her hands and just bawling, baby. Meanwhile, Laurie's undergoing her surgery. They're stapling her up. And, dude, the effects in this movie are gnarly. It looked a little too real.
Yeah, they are.
Looked a little too
gross,
real.
honestly. I hate
Good job.
table hospital scene, like mid-surgery scenes in all shows, movies, everything. Like when they're just like on the table and then like clearly have the stomach open or whatever, and they're just pushing shit and like poking around. I hate them. It's so unnecessary to me, and I don't like it.
And it looked too real in this movie.
Well,
Yeah.
it was real. Jamie Lee
Christopher
Curtis is
Nelson.
just a method actress, so they actually cut into her. I don't know.
No wonder. No wonder she's so good. So after the surgery scene, Karen walks into the stairway where Allison is, and she kind of comforts her. She's like, "Yeah, Dad's fucking dead," and Karen's like, "He'll always be with us, even when we can't see him." Which this line comes back in a cool way at the end of the movie. This is not cheesy. I actually like that. I do like that
one.
And I like that it comes back in the end.
I think that they probably wrote that one first, and we're like, let's try to do that 5 more times. And then
Yeah, seriously.
just
Jesus
fucking did all the other
Christ.
ones.
I'm really dogging this movie hard, but I'll tell you guys what. I think this is the most fun Halloween to watch. It's not necessarily the best. It doesn't really advance the plot. It doesn't really have much of a story. But if you're in it to watch Michael Myers kill people, this is the movie for you.
Yeah,
Because he kills a lot in this movie.
yes, he does. I think that
And-
that's like almost one of the problems, though, is that like there's so much not Michael scenes without the plot progressing that it becomes tedious to watch
Oh,
after a
you are
while. Like watching people
100% right.
plan. It'll literally skip from one group of people trying to plan, not to Michael, then to somebody else, but one group of people trying to plan, then the next people trying to plan, and then Michael for 13 seconds, and then another people trying to plan something. Like, it just keeps going, and I'm just like, bro, I get it. We're planning. Just stop. Just show him.
That's later in the movie, but I know what you're talking about.
I'm just talking about in general, though, throughout the whole movie. They do this.
So then it cuts to this elderly couple's house. We meet Phil and Sandra. Sandra's flying her little drone. She's having a good time. Phil comes out with one of the funniest lines, and he's got this like CPAP mask on. And he goes, "Hey, this shit smells like Lucky Strikes from when your mother borrowed it." She goes, "That's not the mask, baby. That's Laurie Strode's house on fire." And they just sit there and they just start talking shit about Laurie.
They do. It's funny. And then, what does she say? She says something really funny back to him.
Wait, hold on. I wrote that shit down, actually. I wrote that
Okay, good. I knew you
You
would.
better talk no shit about that woman. She will fuck you up.
Yeah. So good.
So Phil ends up taking the drone from Sandra because he doesn't like the way she's flying it. He flies it into the bathroom, and the drone gets thrown back out.
Scary.
It's scary as fuck. So he's like, "What the fuck?" So he goes in there, and we see that Michael's bandaging up the hand that his 2 fingers got fucking... It's the hand that Laurie
Chopped off?
shot with the shotgun. Yeah.
Yeah.
And as he turns on the light, Michael reacts fast and punches the shit out of the light bulb. It's scary, man.
It's so
scary.
quick.
I know. So yeah, Michael breaks down the light bulb. It goes dark in the bathroom. So Phil's like, all right, fuck that. He locks the door, and he's like, and this house is set up really weird because like inside of the house, there's like a hallway with windows.
Mm-hmm.
And a locked door. I don't know, man. The house setup's weird, but I like the way it plays out in the movie.
It's just cramped. That's the problem.
So Phil starts walking, and like I said, this hallway has windows. Phil starts walking towards Sandra's like, let's call the police. Wait, there's another line that I love. He goes, there's a big fella in our bathroom, and he's wearing a monster mask. And Sandra's like, what the fuck does he want? And he goes, who gives a shit? Call the police. So as Phil's walking past this hallway with the windows, Michael breaks the glass, grabs Phil, and brings him down onto the glass, takes his head and impales him from the back of the neck with the glass. It's fucked up, man.
Mm-hmm.
And as he's
Number
sitting
3.
there, this blood's like spurting out of his neck. Michael pushes a little lower and then pulls him through the glass. So Phil is just bleeding out on the ground here. Sandra's freaking the fuck out. Sandra goes to the kitchen. She grabs a knife to defend herself. She tries unlocking the door, but it's not really working in her favor. Michael walks in. I get it. When you're frozen with fear like that, I get it. A lot of people talk shit about Sandra just standing there, but I get being frozen in fear.
Oh yeah, you'd freeze too.
Yeah,
Anybody.
You would freeze too. So she's like, fuck. Like she's holding the knife up like she wants to, but she physically cannot.
Mm-hmm.
As she's doing this, Michael grabs a fucking, like, one of those, like, bulb. What is it? Like a light bulb? What would you call that? Like a fluorescent?
Yeah, one of like the fluorescent tube bulbs.
Yeah, it's like a tube. He breaks it on
like
the
what was
counter.
like what was the lights in your school? The long lights in your school.
Yeah. So he breaks that on the counter to make it sharp. He walks over to Sandra. He stabs her in the neck, and he starts twisting that shit, bro. Mm-hmm. Oh, dear God.
And it just fills up with blood, and that is that's number 3 on my list.
That's
of
number
top
3,
kills.
really?
That's 3.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
It's gross.
It's nasty,
and then he rips it out, and Sandra starts trying to walk away, but man, she's dying. Michael just nonchalantly drops the fucking bulb.
Mm-hmm.
Sandra falls over, and kind of we get this cool shot where we see like Sandra's like in the foreground, but she's blurry. Or she's not blurry. Michael's blurry in this scene. But yeah. Michael goes back for Phil. He grabs Phil and slams him on the counter. And then Michael just starts testing every knife they have on Phil's back.
Mm-hmm.
And it is... Oh, dude, it's disturbing.
And
it's disturbing.
And one of the saddest things is when Michael goes back to get him, he's like, blood is like flowing out of his neck, and he's just yelling for Sandra. And it just makes you feel so awful. You feel so sad.
Sandra just has to watch as Phil gets stabbed fucking 5 or 6 times. Until eventually they both die. Michael picks up another knife. He walks out of the house. And then we cut to a really creepy ventriloquist act at the bar. They're doing a talent show at this bar for some reason. It's like the weirdest thing. Lonnie's really enjoying the show. Like, he's really enjoying the show. But Tommy, Lindsay, Marion, Vanessa, Marcus, all of them are at the bar. They're having a drink. Marcus is like, "Hey, can I guys buy you a drink? Can I buy you a few? I didn't know you guys dealt with that boogeyman shit." And as you know, they're drinking, having a good time. Lonnie gets a call from Cameron. He's like, "Dad, listen, I need you to come pick me up. A cop was attacked. I don't, like, please come get me." So Lonnie gets up. He's like, "Listen, Cameron's in trouble. I gotta go pick him up." And then it cuts to Sheriff Barker, the worst sheriff to ever be known. He's looking at the aftermath of the firefighter. First off, the scene starts on Officer Francis's head carved out like a jack-o'-lantern. Mm-hmm. And it kind of pans out, which I love. Yeah. I love that they brought that back. And what's he say? He says, "Mother..." Like, hey, man, if you had that attitude last movie, maybe this wouldn't have happened. Maybe this would have been stopped. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe if you took it a little more serious. Sheriff Barker's terrible. I love his character, though. Yeah, he does end up trying a little harder in this movie. But God, he's terrible. Terrible.
Hey,
sheriff.
what are you gonna do? Cancel Halloween?
And Hawkins just looks at me like, what the fuck is this guy's problem? So at the bar, I'm going to go back to the bar because I forgot to touch on this. This is the bat scene we'd already talked about.
Yeah.
Where he's like, I can't understand a word the bartender is saying.
This
But
bar was made by my grandfather.
Yeah.
That's
and
my
he goes,
grandfather's bat right here.
If Michael Myers ever comes back, we got something for him.
Yeah.
And it's this bat on the wall.
Pronunciate.
Yeah, so this is where that bat we talked about earlier kind of comes into play. Tommy doesn't grab it just yet, but it is talked about. So Sheriff Barker, he's looking at the aftermath, and we also meet Deputy Graham. And Deputy Graham's doing an all call, and he's like, listen, we've got a very dangerous fugitive out here. He's on foot. It's Michael Myers. Go get him. And they put all units on the line for this. I mean, I would too. If that many people died in front of me.
Yeah, you got 11 bodies just in that spot. There's 4 more.
Just in 12 square feet, bro? Like, that's fucked.
Yeah. There's 4 more in that
and you
neighborhood.
gotta even think about Ray's. Ray's body is still in the house.
Yeah.
We've got 2 dead cops in the car.
Uh-huh.
On top of all the firefighters he's killed. Like, that's...
Yeah. Yeah.
All units, baby! Bring them out!
Yeah.
So as they kind of make this announcement, as they do the all call, people start finding out Michael Myers is out and killing people, and we cut to the bar, and everyone's phones like kind of going off. And then we see on the TV, we see a news report, and it explains that 2 Smiths Grove's patients escaped. They haven't been located from the bus crash, and it's Michael Myers and Mr. Tivoli. But they don't put the names underneath the pictures. They don't. Terrible decision.
Yeah.
And you guys got to remember, people complain about Tivoli all the time, saying he looks nothing like Michael. You got to remember, let's say someone killed someone 40 years ago today, Kinson. Do you think in our hometown? All right, yeah. Oh, and in where we live, in the town of Pick, 40 years ago, someone killed someone, like 5 people, right? You wouldn't know what he would look like 40 years from then, right?
No, but like they do. Because he was in the mental institution. Why would they have a picture of the other dude? I think it was picture day and Michael didn't show up?
They show both pictures. They show Michael and Tivoli.
Yeah.
Michael's just blurred out.
Yeah.
On
why?
camera. Like it's just that's how they always shoot Michael's face in the movies. It's not blurred out.
I just don't understand like why they're like why they like were just like it's one of these 2, get them. Like on the news, and they even like make like a point.
That's not what they
basically,
said.
They said
they don't know if it's connected.
They might as well
have. They
have.
literally said they don't know if this is connected with the murders. They said it in the news report. And then
I know they
this
said
is
it
a
in the
really,
news
really, really fun fact. It shows a picture of PJ Souls as Linda, and then it shows a picture of Bob Odenkirk in the 70s.
Oh yeah.
They use that picture for Bob from 1978. So Bob Odenkirk has a credit in this movie. It's amazing. So yeah, news breaks. Michael, murders are happening. Vanessa and Marcus are like, hey, we're gonna go. We don't really feel safe. That was our neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
That Julian kid that we saw on TV, that's my neighbor. So I'm gonna head home. I'm gonna start heading home.
Yeah.
So on their way out, again, Marcus forgets his stethoscope inside, so he goes back in. Vanessa goes to the car where we see it's fogged up. Someone's in the car. She starts the car, not realizing, and said person kind of pops up from the back. Vanessa gets out, runs to the bar, and she's like, Michael Myers in the back of the car. I swear to God, Michael Myers in the back of the car. And she's like, Marcus, go look. And he says, hell no.
He says, go look. No.
So Vanessa runs into the bar. She's like, listen, Michael Myers in the back of my car. We got to do something, guys. So Tommy grabs the bat. He goes out. The car has started. The person has moved to the front of the seat. Michael starts like taunting the car a little bit. Or sorry, not Michael. Tommy Doyle starts taunting the car a little bit. Sorry. And he's like, come on, Michael. Come on. And he ends up hitting the car with the bat, and that freaks said person out, and they take off. And they end up wrecking like a block over. Right? So Tommy and everyone from the bar end up running over to the car to see what has happened. Nobody's in there, but we do find a white umbrella. If that rings a bell, it's because Mr. Tivoli had that white umbrella, and it was Mr. Tivoli in the car. It was not Michael Myers. It was the other Smith's Grove patient. So, yeah, he's in this movie. He's alive and well, and walking around doing his thing.
And then we get the best line ever by Tommy, where he goes, I'm going to make him say night-night with the bat.
Say night-night, Michael. Say night-night.
Honestly,
cut it out. Hey, cut that scene out.
no, you know what honestly is like, I would have been fine with this. So I know we have a lot of beef with a line that has not been said yet. Actually, yes, it has. We just didn't say it.
Oh yeah,
But,
let's go. Nah, we'll bring it up later because
We'll bring it up later when it becomes more prevalent, because it'll just get said once here, which is still cringy, but fine. The thing that Tommy Doyle says right before it, 10 times better. He goes, he grabs the bat from behind the bar, and then he sticks some money in a little, like one of those little like charity boxes, and it says
"Love lives today."
Yeah, love lives today. And then he goes, love lives today. Throws it in there and dips.
Then Marion
Fine.
gets up
and
she goes, "And evil dies tonight." I'm like,
Yeah.
all right, Marion, pop off, sis. Actually, it was fine when she said it. It honestly was.
I wasn't mad at it. I think I was just mad
Because-
because of the future.
Yeah, you get mad about it because you know what that line kind of turns into.
Yeah. But his line, I was fine with. I kind of was like, oh, okay, tough.
Yeah, tough guy.
Yeah, cool.
Uh-oh, tough guy alert. Uh-oh.
Yeah. Uh-oh.
So then, after this whole sequence goes down with the car, we cut to what is now a renovated version of the Myers house, and it's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Yeah, it is. They did a really nice job with the two
did.
best people in the movie.
And we meet Big John and Little John, which is this gay couple that has moved into the Myers house and made it their own. And I do gotta say, I love them so much.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. They're one of the only people that didn't make me, like, cringe
No,
throughout the
and
movie, to be honest.
a lot of people had beef with their characters, but I mean, I didn't. I thought they were very realistic.
They are extremely realistic like that. I think that's why I like them so much.
People literally thought they were offensive, and I'm not sure why. Because, like, I mean, I have a lot of gay relatives, and I see a lot of them in Big John and Little John.
Yeah.
I thought it was very realistic, and I didn't find it offensive at all.
Yeah, I don't understand the beef with that.
Beats me, man. Beats me.
I'm a member of the Ligabit
do you have
community
anything?
myself, and like they're fine. I've met people exactly like them. They're real.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah,
They are
this
very real
isn't a
people.
character, bro. They just looked at somebody.
Seriously, I like them. I like them a
Yeah.
lot. They made the movie whenever they were on screen. They made the movie really fun.
They were.
I'd say Big John and Little John is also that's a strong suit of this movie too. It's Big John and Little John.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we kind of see what they've done with the Myers house. It's beautiful. It's not spooky anymore. And Big John's a pothead. He's upstairs kind of singing with his records, his spooky
Oh,
Halloween records, which is one of the funniest sequences.
dude. The camera cutting of him singing that song is so funny. I remember I watched that like today, like when I was watching it, and I remember in the theater the very opening night we were sitting there watching that, and Mark did one of the loudest laughs in the entire theater when it hard cut like 3 times like that when he danced.
I did not.
It was like one of your
I had already
like,
seen the movie.
really
I got a
strong laughs.
I had a pre-showing. I knew it was coming. I watched everyone else's reaction. That laugh was not me.
It was probably me. Sorry,
Yes,
guys.
it was. I was sitting right next to you.
Are you sure it wasn't Tim? Tim was right next to me.
It was probably Tim too.
Yeah, I was watching everyone's reaction throughout the movie. And I'm gonna touch on one of your reactions on when we get to it.
Mine?
No, Owens. I wonder had a really good reaction to this movie.
Me?
Yeah, you.
What did I do? Is it funny?
We'll get to it when we get to it. It's hilarious.
Is it funny?
Okay, sorry. I just don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, anyway, Big John's upstairs smoking. Little John's downstairs making a charcuterie board. Little John goes upstairs like, hey, I thought we were going to watch a movie. And Big John's like, nah, let's get high and dance to Spooky Records. And then someone starts ringing on their doorbell. They go down there, and it's this girl. She's like, help, one of my friends got candy from your house, and there was a razor blade in it. So they run outside trying to help this girl, and the door shuts. The front door shuts. And they're like, what was that? And they're like, what was that? And the girl's like, oh my God, just to deter their attention to the girl on the ground. And as they are looking at this girl, she pops up and scares the shit out of them. We find out a third kid went into the house and stole their bowl of candy. And they run out, and we're like, we got you. We got the whole bowl of candy. Ha, ha, ha. And then they get real serious, and they're like, do you know whose house this is? Do you know what happens to people who walk into the Myers house uninvited? And then Big John goes, he stabbed his sister in the tits. It's so funny. And they end up freaking these kids out, and they run. They take off. We cut back to the hospital, and Sheriff Barker and Deputy Graham are talking to Karen and Allison. They're trying to figure out what happened with the house, why it was on fire, and they're kind of telling them, like, yeah, we trapped Michael Myers, we burnt him to the ground, he's fucking dead. And then they're like, I got some bad fucking news. Michael Myers is still alive. You didn't kill him. And then it cuts to Allison walking out of the hospital, and Cameron runs in. And he's like, hey, Allison. And she's like, I'm going to forgive you for cheating on me because we have way worse shit going on right now.
Yeah.
And then Cameron explains, like, hey, listen, we got this group of people together. We're going to go after Michael, or we're going to stop him. And Allison's like, yeah, let's do it. And Karen comes out, and she's like, no, Michael's coming here. We're going to stay here, and you're not going anywhere. And Allison's like, no, Mom, I'm not going to let someone else, like an innocent person, die. And Karen's like, listen, I'm not having it. Go sit with your grandma right now. Go. Mm-hmm. So she gets stuck at the hospital, and Karen is convinced that Michael is coming to the hospital.
Yeah.
She is convinced.
I also like that the best thing that happened to Allison that night was getting cheated on.
Literally, bro. That was the best thing that happened to this poor girl.
It's rough.
Poor girl's gonna go through it in the next movie, too. I just know it. I worry for her character in the next movie. Like, I'm scared. I'm scared for her. Anyway, so Allison goes into Laurie's room. She takes out the knife that she had gotten at the end of 2018, and she puts it under Laurie's pillow, and she's like, it's there for when you need it. It then cuts to the exterior of the hospital. Tommy and Lonnie arrive, and they're like, oh my God, Laurie's alive. Thank God. It's a miracle she survived. And then they start putting together a mob. Vanessa, Marcus, Lindsay, Marion, and all of them pull up, and they join the mob. Allison sneaks out of the hospital. She joins the mob, and they start loading up on Lonnie's guns. What is it that Tommy says? Do you have a permit for all these? And he goes, some of them. So funny. So they kind of split up into their own pairs and start doing their own thing. So we've got Lonnie, Cameron, and Allison in their own car. Tommy takes his own car to gather more of the Haddonfield locals to start the mob, to make the mob bigger, I should say. And then we've got Lindsay, Marion, Vanessa, and Marcus all in one car. And they all kind of go their separate ways, and they start looking for Michael. Marion then explains to Marcus that Dr. Loomis was right, and nobody was wanted to listen to him in 1978. And they should have, because this is why. You know what? You know what Dr. Loomis did? He told everybody.
Oh, okay. I was wondering where that was going.
Yeah, me too. I was confused.
I was like, oh my God, I don't know the answer to this.
a little callback to
Yeah.
2 episodes we did. So Marion and the gang pull up to the park, and they see those badass kids we saw earlier swinging on the swings. And we also see that they all have Halloween 3 masks, which was a really cool reference to Halloween 3. So they have the witch, the pumpkin, and the skull mask. Well, we don't see the skull mask because the kid with the skull mask is out doing some other shit right now.
Yeah.
So Lindsay rolls up, and she's like, I'm going to go talk to them. And she's like, hey, you guys need to go home. Like, it's not safe out here tonight. And they are just dickheads, bro. These kids are fucking terrible.
They're so funny, though. Like, they're like, there's a white man in a mask, and he's hiding behind trees. We think he's a perv.
Yeah. We think he's a pervert. And Lindsay's just like, where did you see the man in the white mask? Like, this is important. Where did you see him? And he goes, oh, look, there he is. And they start waving to him. And he's right next to Lindsay's car where everyone else is. And we see him holding the skull mask covered in blood. My man just murdered a kid.
Oh, yeah.
Honestly, that kid probably had it coming. That kid probably said some shit.
No. Oh, absolutely he did. He was fresh off of stealing all the candy from Big John and Little John. He was on a sugar high, and he got the best of him, dude.
And then Michael got his ass.
Yep.
So they kind of realize, oh my god, that's our friend Dennis's mask. And Lindsay's like, you need to go home right now. That's the fucking killer. And meanwhile, inside the car, they're kind of unaware what's going on. Marion looks into the rear view mirror and sees Michael jump on the car. Kind of a callback to 1978 when he did that to her then.
Mm-hmm.
Except this time, instead of just Marion, it's Marion, Vanessa, and Marcus. So Michael's on top of the car. They're all like, oh, what the fuck? And then Marion's like, listen, it's Michael. It's Michael. He's on the car. So Marion just starts firing her shots, bro. Just hoping she hits him. Michael breaks through the glass, grabs her hair, and pulls her through the glass a little bit. And she's like, oh, fuck. Oh, fuck. And Marcus reaches over and like pulls her back in. And Michael rips a big chunk of hair out of her hair. And the sound design sounds way too real.
Ew, yeah.
It's foul.
It's literally like Velcro. It's just...
Yeah. Oh, that was spot on.
Yeah.
Yeah, so as Marcus is helping Marion back into the car, Vanessa says, fuck this, and goes out one of the windows. Need I add, Vanessa has this big Desert Eagle at this point that she got from Lonnie, and the gun's like half her size.
Yeah.
So when Marcus gets Marion back in, he's like, listen, we need to go. We need to get out of the car. And they start going to the other side. And as they go to the other side, Michael jumps down. Marion opens the door, aims her gun at her, at Michael. And she goes, listen, Michael, this is for Dr. Loomis. And she tries to fire, but she wastes all her bullets. So Michael crawls into the car and stabs her like 3 times. As he's killing her, Marcus grabs his stethoscope and starts to strangle him from the back seat. Michael turns his head real slow, takes the knife, and stabs him in the eye. And this is the reaction I wanted to touch on. When we watched this in the theater, bro, Owen jumped, bro. Owen got up from his seat when he saw that.
Okay, well, listen, like, usually it's like a stab into the eye, but it was it was right under the eye. So, like, the eye was going up above the knife, and I was like, what?
Yeah. It was crazy. And that is actually my number 2.
That whole sequence, honestly, this whole car sequence, I love.
My number 1 in the entire franchise is the one that's about to happen, too. That's my favorite one in the entire series.
As Michael just finished killing Marcus, Vanessa decides, oh, now's a good time to start shooting. I don't know why she didn't come in earlier and try to save Marcus or Marion, but, dumb choices were made in this movie. So she starts firing this heavy, like, Desert Eagle. She's missing all her shots. I mean, for those who have fired a gun, it is not easy.
No.
Especially a gun of that caliber. Like, that's... accidents are bound to happen. And speaking of accidents, she gets a little too close to Michael. Michael kicks the door as she's about to shoot, and it moves the gun towards Vanessa's head, and she ends up shooting herself. Michael
so
went
fucking
full
good.
John Wick in this movie, bro.
Yeah, he did. And then he does that shit. He gets out of the car and he looks at her and he does like the head tilt thing of like the curiosity of like, damn,
Yeah.
I didn't even think that was gonna happen.
Yeah, you could tell
Like,
that
that
he
shit was-
like Michael was surprised by that.
Yeah, he was like, damn, no shot that worked. I just meant to hit her with the door, and like then I was gonna get out and finish this. I didn't think she was gonna do the whole
But
gun
as
thing.
he's kind of admiring what just happened, Lindsay comes up with a bag full of bricks and starts wailing on Michael. She gets a good 2 hits in, and then Michael
does.
grabs her, slams her against the car, starts choking her. But Lindsay's resourceful, bro. She grabs the mask and she tries to take it off, and we all know that mask is important to Michael. So Michael's like, I'm not gonna kill her just yet. Let me get my mask back on. So Michael starts to put the mask back on, and Lindsay takes off. She hides in the swampy area, and Michael kind of, like, he walks past her, not seeing where she went. He lost her, and he's like, fuck it, I'm gonna keep on keeping on. So Michael kind of just walks away. We cut back to the hospital. Karen finds out Allison has left, and Lori is so goddamn proud of killing Michael. It's almost sad. She doesn't know. She doesn't know that
Nope.
Michael's alive yet. She's literally like Karen, we killed Michael. We did it. Like this is Lori's life's work essentially.
Yeah,
But she's wrong. But as she doesn't know she's wrong yet. But Hawkins, Officer Hawkins gets wheeled into the same room as Lori, which is badass. And then it cuts to a different scene. It cuts to Lonnie explaining to Allison that Ray used to sell him peyote.
Mm-hmm.
Which, in the 2018 movie, Ray said Lonnie used to sell him peyote. So they've got the story. So they've got the story wrong. They've got it mixed up. And then Lonnie's talking about how one time Ray took a bunch of peyote on while they were on a kayak or a canoe, and he got his own. He got naked and saw his own reflection and freaked out and jumped in. And then Lonnie said, "That's when I stopped doing drugs with him." And it's really heartfelt, honestly, to see Allison laugh about that, and then she kind of remembers her dad's dead, and then she starts crying, and it's just like, damn.
Yeah.
And then Cameron says, that's Tommy's car. Pull up. So they pull up, and Tommy has found Lindsay's car. It's covered in blood, and they're like, what happened? So they start searching the area, and they see what Michael did with their bodies, and it is fucking disturbing. Michael took the Halloween 3 masks and put them on the 3 bodies that he just killed, and he displayed them in such fucked ways. He put Vanessa and Marcus on, what would you call that thing?
I don't know. The little spinny thing.
A little spinny thing at the playground. What do you call that?
Yeah. Not car. I keep wanting to say carousel, but
No, because that's like
It's
a
not
carnival ride, isn't it?
yeah, the carousel is like the little horse thing.
Anyway, it's like a small version of that, and they're just posted up on that spinning. And poor Marion, is strung up with a swing, with a chain swing, with the Season of the Witch, the witch mask on. And they're like, oh god, that's Marion. Michael did this. Where's Lindsay? Allison ends up finding Lindsay in the riverbank. Lindsay's alive, and she's like, listen, Michael Loki fucked me up. I need to go to the hospital. So they
It's called a
grab
roundabout.
Lindsay. Oh, it's called a roundabout?
Yeah, I just looked it up.
Yeah, so Lindsay's alive, and she needs medical attention. It cuts back to the hospital. Lori's talking to Frank. Frank's a little... Frank hasn't replied. He's a little out of it. Low sleep, low slump. And that's fine. That's what happens to you when you get stabbed and run over by a car.
True.
And that's when we find out that Frank and Lori have a little bit of they have some history together.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
Got a little something.
Got a little something there. They kissed at a bar. They held hands. Frank said he was hoping for a little more, but nothing happened. And the romance begins to blossom once again. Once again. And Lori, before Hawkins wakes up, she looks at Hawkins and she's like, I've always liked you. And Hawkins replies with, you're so crazy. And then Laurie says, fuck you. I thought it was funny. And then she tells Frank, like, hey, we killed Michael. He's like, well, it's about time. Then a nurse comes in, and she brings in, like, morphine or something like that. It's not really said what it is, but it's a painkiller.
Yeah.
In a syringe. And that's all you really need to know. We then cut back to the park. They're loading Lindsay into the car. And as they're loading Lindsay into the car, Lindsay's like, you know, when we were kids, we used to dare each other to go into the Myers house. And Lonnie was the only one to ever do it. And it slowly pans over to Lonnie. And he goes, I lied. I never made it in. Which I love. I love. Because we remember, hey, Lonnie, get your ass away from there. That absolute classic scene. So we go back to the hospital, and Sheriff Brackett explains, like, I wasn't there on 1978 to kill Michael because I had to go home and tell my wife that my daughter is dead.
Yeah.
Because if he was there, he would have put a bullet in his brain right then and there. And this is in the lobby of the hospital. People have gathered. The mob is there, and they are pissed. They are pissed. Oscar's mom comes in, and she's like, I got a call from the hospital. Is my son okay? Is my son alive? And they're like, I don't know. Sign these papers and all that stuff. Tommy wheels in Lindsay. They get Lindsay the medical attention. And then the fucking worst scene in the movie happens, where the hospital goes on lockdown, and Tommy explains to the mob, Michael's coming here, we need to prepare for it, and evil dies tonight. And the whole hospital starts chanting, evil dies tonight. The whole hospital breaks out in chaos after that, and it's crazy. Tommy then runs up to Laurie's room, and he's like, Laurie, Michael's alive. He killed Marion. And she's like, what? She's like, what are we going to do? And the answer is to fight. So she's like, go get him, Tommy. Go fucking kill him. And then Karen sits there and she's like, listen, we're not equipped to fight Michael. He escaped the fire. He escaped the trap that you have been working 40 years on. We can't do this. There's a system to this. And I love this line. Laurie gets up and she says, the system failed. She goes over to the syringe the mystery syringe, stabs herself. Karen's like, do you even know what's in there? And Laurie's like, yeah, it makes the pain go away. And then we get this line, this amazing line from Laurie, and I'm going to play the clip right now because it is my favorite Laurie line in the movie.
Let him come for me.
No.
Let him take my head as I take his.
No.
Maybe the only way he can die is if I die too.
No.
Karen, you and Allison should not have to keep running because of the darkness that I created, honey. So you just have to let me go.
Mom, stop! Stop! Mom, listen! Mom! Stop! I am not gonna let anything happen to you.
So Karen makes her stay at the hospital. Damn. I gotta say, man, though Jamie Lee Curtis is barely in this movie, when she is acting her ass off.
I agree.
She is so goddamn talented. God damn. So we go back to the Myers house. We see Big John and Little John having a good time, hanging out on the couch, talking about bees and their waggle bands and all that shit. And we hear a knock on the front door. Or sorry, the back door, excuse me. So they go to the back door, and Little John's like, knock it off, shitheads. It's a little late. And then we get a knock on the front door. Big John goes, no, they're at the front door. So funny. My man's high as shit. High as shit. So he goes out to the front door. He grabs this pitchfork that's a Halloween decoration. And he goes, next time you fuck with me, I'm using the pitchfork on you. So he pushes the pitchfork back down. He goes back in. Big John and Little John kind of look at each other. And like, did you lock the back door? And he's like, let me check. So he goes towards the back door. We see the back door wide ass open with bloody handprints like all over the place. And he says, Big John, there's someone in our house and it is not a child. And then Big John reaches down and grabs a little charcuterie, Big John reaches down and grabs a knife and he says, I have this knife. And then Little John reaches down and grabs the little charcuterie knife and he goes, and I have this knife. And they start searching the house. Meanwhile, at the hospital, Mr. Davoli comes in and he's looking for help. My man is hurt from the car accident that he got into, and he comes in literally asking for help. But people saw him on the news, his mugshot on the news, and they're like, that's Michael Myers. Fuck. And then through the grapevine, they kind of hear that Michael's made it to the hospital, and Laurie's like, what's going on up there? What's going on? And someone yells to Tommy, it's Michael. And then Michael tells Laurie, Michael's here. So now Laurie's like, oh fuck, Michael's here. This scene is so fucking sad.
Yeah.
Tivoli ends up getting chased by the mob and he starts running through the hospital, and Tommy and the mob chase after him. We cut back to Big John and Little John searching through the house. Big John is upstairs. Little John is downstairs. Big John ends up going to Judith's room, looking around where we kind of would expect Michael to be, but he's not there. Turns out Michael's just behind him. Michael stabs Big John in the armpit, flips him around, takes his thumbs, puts them into Big John's eye sockets, and pops his eyes out. What a way to go. What a way to go.
That's a rough one.
So Little
That's
John
a really
hears
rough go.
this. Yeah, it's rough. It's rough to watch. Little John hears this. He runs upstairs. He sees his husband dead. He sees Michael staring out the window. He looks at Michael and he says, Michael, you've come home. Michael turns. He starts walking towards Little John. We hear Little John scream, and then it cuts back to the hospital where Mr. Tivoli is just running for his life. He runs past Laurie, and Laurie's like, that's not Michael. Like, that's not him. And Laurie tries to stop them. That's not Michael, stop. She even grabs a doctor and knees him into the wall. And that, God, that tears open her stitches. So her, Karen, and Deputy Graham end up taking Laurie back to her room. And Karen's telling Deputy Graham, that's not Michael, you need to stop this. And in this madness in the hallway, we see that Oscar's mom walks over to the morgue and finds Oscar's body. And it's such a short scene, but it's powerful. Oscar's mom just breaks down. It's terrible. So Tivoli runs to the second floor and Karen follows. Deputy Graham tries to stop the mob following alongside Sheriff Barker, and they're like, listen, that's not Michael, stop, you need to stop what you're doing. They get overwhelmed and the mob ends up getting past them. Cut to Laurie and Hawkins. Hawkins explains to Laurie that on the night in 1978, he could have let Dr. Loomis shoot Michael in the brain, but he's the one that stopped him. So Hawkins feels that he's at fault. And Laurie kind of calms him, saying, listen, Frank, you're a good man. You are doing your job, but it needs to die. And I'm the one that's going to kill it. And then we cut back to Karen. Karen finds Tivoli. She kind of calms him down. She's like, listen, I know you're not him. Take my hand. I'm going to get you to safety. She takes him to this hallway where there are two doors on both sides of the hallway. She locks him in there. And she's as the mob runs up, she's like, listen, that's not Michael, that's not Michael. And they're still not listening. And on the other side, the mob is on both sides of the doors, like Tivoli's trap. They start breaking in. Tivoli starts breaking down. He doesn't know what to do. So he grabs a fire hydrant. He starts breaking the glass. And he's on the fucking fourth floor, I'd say, of this building, of the hospital. They went upstairs. They went upstairs. Yeah. He breaks the glass. He kind of steps out from the window. The mob breaks in. Tivoli closes his eyes and takes one last step forward, and he falls to his death. And it's a heartbreaking scene.
It is.
It
really,
is
really sad.
It's terrible. Terrible. They all kind of run downstairs to see the aftermath. Sheriff Brackett looks at the body, and he's like, Tommy, that's not Michael. And Tommy says, it's gotta be. It's like, that has to be Michael. Trying to justify the fucking murder they just committed. And Sheriff Brackett's like, listen, he's turning us into monsters. It is, honestly, that scene's really powerful too. Because there are good moments in this movie, but the boring parts kind of bring the movie way down.
Yeah. That's one of my biggest like quarrels with the movie as well.
The boring parts of the dialogue, I can see why people don't like this movie.
Yep.
But this movie has some great and powerful moments in it. So, we then get another 1978 flashback where Hawkins is talking to his superior, and he's like, listen, trade me guns. We're going to pretend this whole thing was an accident, and McCabe shot himself. We're going to make it look like that. And Hawkins like, listen, man, I'm so sorry. I was just trying to do my job. And he's like, listen, it's fine. We're going to cover it up. And they move on. We're cut back to the hospital. Frank explains to Laurie, Michael's not coming after you. That was Dr. Sartain that brought you two together. Michael has no interest in you. So that's when kind of Laurie realizes, oh, Michael's not after me. I think the line he says is, he's a 6-year-old boy with the strength of a man and a mind of an animal. It's a fire line. Hawkins got a good line.
Hard
Ass line. And then he kind of explains, like, Mike looking out the window. Like, Michael's looking at this window. He's not looking out. What if he's looking in at himself, at his reflection? And then we find out at the end of the day, Michael wants one thing. It's to go home. We then cut to Lonnie, Cameron, and Allison. They're heading towards the Myers house. Because they... Really cool scene. I like this scene a lot. They start tracking Michael's victims from Laurie's compound, and they realize it's a straight line to the Myers house. Obviously, Michael is already at the Myers house since he just killed Big John and Little John. So they're like, yeah, let's head there. Let's go kill him. So we cut back to the hospital. Karen comes out pissed at Tommy. Like, you just killed an innocent man. What the fuck is going on? And then she's like, I need a car. Give me a car. And Tommy's like, I can give you a car. We then cut back to the Myers house. Lonnie explains to his kids, like, I'm going in by myself. I'm not taking you kids in there for me. This was a really dumb idea. I'll go handle it myself. Lonnie goes in. A few minutes pass. We hear a gunshot. So Allison and Cameron get out of the car, and they end up going into the Myers house. They start calling out for Lonnie. No answer. Not good for Lonnie. Not good.
No.
And they end up at the closet door. They think Michael might be in there, so they swing it open. It's just a pumpkin, and Allison fires the shot anyway. So now Michael knows you have a shotgun. Good job. Good job, Allison, you fucking idiot. So as they're like, oh, fuck, that's just a pumpkin, we hear... This is so eerie. We hear Michael play a record. And it's an Anne Murray song called Could I Have This Dance? They go upstairs and they see a picture of Big John and Little John where they're all cute, laid up on each other's lap, and Michael set up their bodies the same way as the picture.
I liked that. I really, really liked that. Like the playing with like the victims and stuff like that. Same way that he did on the roundabout.
Yeah. It's badass. It's badass. Yeah. So they go in and they kind of see that Allison goes in and grabs one of the knives out of Little John, which is disgusting. So Allison now has a shotgun and a knife. So Cameron, who has this pistol, he's like, oh, my dad's still somewhere. I'm going to go find my dad. So he walks out. He starts going down the hallway towards a closet. And as he's walking, we see blood drops start hitting his hand. He looks up. We see Lonnie is up in the attic. He's dead. He's dead as fuck. Bleeding a lot. And as Lonnie looks up, he starts to scream a little bit. Like, almost like a whisper scream. Michael busts out the closet, grabs Cameron, slams him against the wall, and stabs him 3 times or so. Allison comes out. She hears the commotion. She aims the shotgun, and as soon as she gets the shotgun up, Michael grabs it and points it in another direction so the shot misses. He then throws the shotgun. Allison's fast, though. She's resourceful. She's taken after her grandmother. She grabs the knife and starts stabbing. She gets good stabs on Michael. She gets him a lot. She does. Michael grabs her by the hair, though, slams her head into the banister, throws her down the steps, and she breaks her leg. So Cameron's on the floor here, bleeding out. Allison's on the first level with a broken leg. Oh, this scene. Oh, fuck, this scene's gonna be... It's tough. I think this is the toughest scene to watch in the movie for me. Because it's just... It's bad. Yeah. Michael grabs... Well, Cameron reaches for the gun. Michael stomps on his hand. Hard as fuck. Michael then grabs him by the hair, brings him to the other side of the banister, pushes his head through the wooden banister, reaches over the banister, grabs his head, and starts roughly, like hard as fuck, bringing it up and slamming his head down. I can't even tell you how many times it does it. Like,
yeah,
a lot.
It's a lot.
It's so hard to
It is a lot. It's at least like 7 or 8.
It's so hard to watch.
It's so drawn out, too.
So he's killing Cameron slow in front of Allison.
Uh-huh.
Oh, and it's fucked. So it's to the point where Cameron's like drooling. Like, he's like, if he were to survive this, there's brain damage. Like, severe
100%.
brain damage. Michael walks to the top of the steps. He starts walking down. Halfway he stops. He looks at Cameron. And then he just ends Cameron. Like, he puts him out of the misery and cracks his neck.
Yeah.
So Michael then pursues Allison, who's got a broken leg. So she tries to hop back. She winds back the knife. She's still got the knife. Remember that. She's still got the knife. She goes for the stab. Michael grabs it, flips the blade on her. She starts screaming, "Do it," which I thought, at first glance, that's weird. Why does she want to die? She's not talking to Michael. Karen's behind her with the pitchfork. Karen comes through, stabs Michael with the pitchfork, and brings him to the ground. She takes his mask off. Fire scene. Fire-ass scene.
Yeah. Really, really good.
She takes his mask off. I know a lot of people are like, well, why didn't she finish him there? Like, baby, Karen's got a plan. Karen's always got a plan. And we know this. So she grabs the mask. She goes outside. Michael gets up, and she's like, you want your mask? Come and get it. She starts taunting Michael. She's like, you remember Judith? Innocent. What is it? What does she say? Help me out here, Owen.
She's like, you want to kill somebody? Kill me. I'm an innocent woman, just like your sister was.
That's what it was. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So Michael doesn't play. Michael's maskless, by the way, so we kind of see his face a little bit. It's very blurry. It's shot in a very smart way where you really can't see it. You can't make it out, and you never can in these movies, which I like. I like the mystery.
Same.
So Michael starts to pursue Karen, and Karen takes off running. She ends up putting the mask down on the ground. Michael sees the mask. So he goes like, I need my mask. I need that shit. So he goes to the mask. He starts picking it up. And as he goes to pick it up, he's surrounded by the mob. Karen led him right to the mob, which is fire. Fire fucking scene. Oh. And then it gets ruined by Sheriff Brackett. Halloween, everyone's entitled to one good scare.
Oh,
we get it, bro. You were in the original. Did we really
no,
need
literally.
that? Did we
that is
really?
exactly
Was that
how I
necessary?
It
So
took
Michael-
me out.
No, dude. It's like there's a lot that
God.
they could have like cut out, and they should have cut out, and that's one of them.
Yeah.
So Michael reaches down, pick up his mask to an amazing score, which I'm gonna play right now. Amazing score. John Carpenter, chef's kiss. This soundtrack won a bunch of awards too. Like, it's good. It's fucking good.
I was going crazy.
So they start wailing on Michael, and Michael's smart. He's resourceful. Michael attacks the only person with a long-ranged weapon.
Yeah.
Did you realize that?
The leopard print guy?
Yeah, the one with the gun.
Yeah. Dude wearing the tiger outfit.
Yes. So yeah, Michael goes after him first because he's the only person with a long-range weapon other than Sheriff Brackett, I guess.
Yeah.
But he ends up landing shots anyway. Michael falls to the ground. He starts getting his ass beat, like, big time.
Yeah.
Big time. Tommy gets a fucking ton of licks in with his bat. And he's weakened. Michael's weakened. He's sitting there, like, he's laying on the ground weakened. And Tommy looks at Karen and he's like, listen, go be with your daughter. We got this.
Mm-hmm.
We got this. So Karen grabs the knife that's on the ground before Michael. She gets one last lick in. She stabs Michael in the back of the spine. And she goes back to Allison. And you know what? They said, you know what, Sheriff Brackett, since you didn't get to put the bullet in his brain in 1978, we're going to let you do it now.
Yep.
So Sheriff Brackett starts walking up. He aims the gun. Michael grabs the knife out his back and slices his throat, bro. I was like, God damn!
Yep. And then we get the anime fight scene.
Yeah, we get an anime-ass edited fight scene where Michael kills a bunch of people in the mob.
Oh,
it's a lot better in the extended cut. It flows a lot better in the extended cut.
Yes,
so
it does.
if you watch that scene, I encourage you to go watch the extended cut version because
100%.
it flows a lot better than that anime-ass fucking sequence we got in the theatrical cut.
Yeah, dude, it's like it slow-mos certain people and like slow-mos like fists going and like stuff like that and like shows like the knife
and it like
flying
zooms in
around.
on Michael's mask a bunch.
Yeah,
and
like vroom, vroom, vroom. Like it's so bad. And then the extended cut one just looks like a fight scene. The extended version looks more so like the firefighter fight scene, like in terms of like a little bit more like rhythm and like makes sense to it. But for some, which I understand now after watching the extended cut of why they couldn't include a lot of that because it gets rough.
Oh, it gets
in the extended cut.
It's gory.
It's really bad. So I get why they couldn't put it in, but like still edit it better. If you can't put it in, do something else better.
You see a knife driven into a man's skull in the extended cut one. Like, it's fucked.
Yeah.
It's fucked.
Yeah.
So the last person in the mob alive is Tommy, and Michael tries to swing the bat at him, but Michael stabs him. And Michael said, you know what you did to me with this bat? I'm going to do it to you. So Michael picks up the bat and just wrecks Tommy. Absolutely wrecks Tommy. Rest in peace, Tommy Doyle.
That was the one scene I was okay with them having a slow-mo, because right when he stabs him, it's just a slow-mo pan of them two, and Michael's just staring at him with this emotionless mask, and it's just terrifying. Like, the silence there, too.
Yeah. I agree. I like the slow motion there a lot, but it didn't need to be there for the random mob kills. Like,
No,
it
did not.
This movie it's full of flaws, and we know this. We've
Yes,
talked about these flaws already. So we cut back to the Myers house, and Karen is out there with Allison. They're loading a bunch of people into ambulances, and Karen gets this idea to follow a blood trail up the steps, leading into Judith's room. And while she's in Judith's room, she's like, well, let me see what all the rave is about. Let me look out this window. As she's walking up, we hear Lori talking about Michael Myers. She's like, there's no way a human being could have survived that fire. The more he kills, the more he transcends into something more powerful. And she says fear is what drives Michael. So while Lori's giving this crazy speech about Michael shows up behind Karen and whoops her ass, bro. Stabs her like 40 times.
Rage kill.
And Karen deserved better because Karen sucked in 2018. That character sucked in 2018.
Yeah.
But in kills, Karen was an MVP.
Yep.
And now she's dead.
Yep.
And that's literally where the movie ends. I like Halloween kills.
They didn't leave a lot of people.
Oh, dude, the kill count's high in this one. It's like 30 something. It's like
they did not. They left like 4 people left in the town to kill Michael Myers.
Lindsay's still alive. Laurie's still alive. Allison's still alive. And Hawkins is still alive. Well,
Yeah.
Sheriff Barker and Deputy Graham are still alive. I think they're going to be in ends. I hope they're in ends.
Yeah.
I hope.
Julian's still alive too.
Yeah, Julian's
True.
alive. You know what?
What
There's
if
a lot more people
Julian
alive than we initially
delivers
thought.
the final blow.
I would actually love. That's not going to happen, but I think I would cheer if that happened. Like, imagine, bro. Laurie's getting her ass kicked by Michael, and, like, this is 4 years, so he's probably, like, 12 at this point. Maybe even older, maybe 14.
Yeah,
Imagine that boy coming in with a gun and just lighting Michael up.
I literally.
Saves Laurie's ass, bro.
He walks in and he's just like, "You killed my number one best babysitter."
Yeah,
This is for my number one best babysitter. Bop, bop, bop.
He gives like the same speech that Tommy Doyle did on the stand.
Oh, dear God.
Does like another poem reading.
No, Halloween Ends looks like it's different. It's and I'm really excited to see the different approach to the movie. They learned, or at least it looks like they learned from Halloween Kills what not to do.
Hopefully.
We'll see what happens next episode. I have high hopes. I heard good things about all the test screenings of this movie. But I've stayed away from almost all the spoilers. I got one thing spoiled to me, but that's it. Yeah. I like Kills. It's not a good movie,
Nope.
but it is really enjoyable.
Okay. I'm actually curious about all of our review or our ratings for this movie. However, right before we do those, you already know what I got for you.
Bring them on. I actually can't wait to hear these.
So I got listen, I actually had trouble finding our 1 stars for this episode because of the fact that every single one is like 8 paragraphs. Like there's tons of them and they're all so long. So like it took a while to find ones that were like short enough to read and not take 30 minutes, but also like were still like funny.
Right.
Some of them are funny, some of them are literally just like true, and I like agree with them, so I went in. Okay, so I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 7, 8, and I'm gonna read through them, and then I'll save my favorite for the last one. Okay, so number 1. For some reason, these are all from 10 months ago too.
When the movie
I think
came
this is
out,
right when they put it on. I think that's right when they put it on Peacock.
it came out on Peacock the same time it had a theatrical release.
Oh, did it?
Yeah.
Okay, because one of them mentions like something about Peacock, so I thought maybe it was that, but I forgot they did do that. Same as what they're doing for this one. Okay, so number 1, we got a absolute terrible movie. It felt like my 4-year-old daughter was telling me about her day. You should be embarrassed of what you've done to the franchise. Disrespectful, and that's so funny that they used the 4-year-old.
That's funny. I can also see why they think that. So
Yeah. Next one. I am a huge Halloween movie fan. And I was so excited for this movie to come out. I've seen every one of them and loved all but one. So glad that I didn't have to pay for this one. What a letdown. All slasher with no real storyline. I somewhat agree, but like I said earlier, I feel like there was too much what was trying to be storyline and not enough like Mike. I mean, there was still a lot of Michael because it was a long movie, but like there's a lot of pushing storyline moments, but whatever. Let's see. Worst movie I ever saw. Just a bunch of gore and a poor plot. Can't believe Jamie Lee Curtis would put her name on this. Because she certainly had a big part and an unbelievable one at that. Plus, she was one of the producers. Shame on her. I won't go into details to spoil any future moviegoers, but all I can say is save your money. And then we're going to skip that one because I want to come back to it. That's my favorite. All right, let's see. Oh, yeah, so this one is... I figured since Jamie Lee Curtis was involved, it would be decent. I was wrong. It's as if despite living with 40 years of history of Michael, this town still knows nothing about him. At least we only had to spend $5 to watch it on Peacock. I get that one. Goes back to like what you were saying earlier about like Loomis, like, just listen. Nobody listened, and nobody's continuing to listen.
I mean, Lori even tried, man. In like 2018, she was telling everybody.
Yes. Let's see. I've seen better acting in high school plays. Horribly cheesy acting made this film make me laugh more than anything. Those who say this film was the best continuation of the 1978 film need to get their head checked. Anthony Michael Hall, we now know why you're a has-been actor. This film proves it. Dang. Dang. Every other line is Michael, Michael, Michael. Like, okay, we get it. You know him on a personal level. Nothing but kill scenes and weak plot with too much dialogue.
Wow.
Agree on that one.
I mean, I think people had way too high expectations coming from Halloween 2018. It's a movie called Halloween Kills. How good did you expect it to be?
As good.
I think it is as good to on certain levels. I enjoyed it, and I know you either love this movie or you hate it. There's no in between.
Yeah. A lot of people do, like, I think it definitely has over hate, but like there's still a lot of like perfectly reasonable hate on this movie. Of certain aspects of the movie, I'll say.
Yeah, and we touched on those, like the dialogue, the slow hospital scenes. They could have been either cut out or replaced with something a little more engaging. But this movie had very, very strong scenes.
I will say, I bet this movie would have banged if it was an hour 20.
Yeah. If they cut out...
If it was an hour 20, this would have banged. If they would have cut out 30 minutes of it, like, it would have gone crazy.
Yeah. No, I agree. It's the
okay, so this is my favorite one.
That deter everyone away. That's literally what it is. It's Tommy Doyle and his Anthony Michael Hall's over-the-top performance as him.
Yeah.
We almost had someone better, but I will tell you about that during my fun facts.
Okay, so this is my favorite one. You know, I always like to like end on like the dumb ones, and this was the dumbest one I could find. So, we got most sucks movie of history. What the F is this shit? He got shooted too many times. He got knifed too many times. He beaten by baseball wood, and he still walk like he is RoboCop. And when you watch this movie, some scenes are funny, not scary. And you think a 6-year-old kid directed this movie. I wish I could give it no star, but Google made me do it. Man, I need to wash my eyes with acid. Done.
I will say this. Going forward, I had read a non-spoiler review of Halloween Ends from someone who saw the test screening. They had said, once you watch Halloween Ends, you're going to go back and watch Halloween Kills to connect dots. So I think Halloween Kills is actually more important than we initially think it is.
You think some of those like just random ramblings actually are just setups?
Could be.
Rather than just things that are said just to fill lines?
They could be.
I hope so. I really hope so.
So
that could change the entire rating.
No, yeah. And I always say it's really not fair to judge Halloween Kills until Ends is out, because it is a middle movie of a trilogy.
Yeah, fair enough.
So, I mean, as of right now, I rank it a 7 with Hellraiser. 7 out of 10.
Okay. Owen, what do you got?
I'm going to have to give it like a 6.4 probably. Like, it's okay.
Okay. Wow. I actually thought both of you were going to be higher, and I thought mine was going to be too low, and you were going to get mad at me. I'm at a 6.8. 6.8.
That's fair. I mean, that's fair for this film.
Is what I'm at. And you know what? Now that you say that, and now that you say that review, I am going to do a new review after at the end of our Halloween Ends episode, I'll do a new review.
Yeah, we're going to review Halloween Kills again next episode, knowing what we know after we see Halloween Ends.
Yeah.
Like, that's the only fair way to assess a middle chapter of a trilogy. It's the only way. Yeah.
All right. Well, I think the last thing we got to do is you got to hit it with some fun facts, right?
Fun facts, yeah. And I'll say a little fun fact about myself before I get into these. I had won a promotional Halloween Kills when they were doing promotions. I had won the Face the Shape contest that they had going on. So I got to shoot a promotional film on the back lot, and I got to meet the cast. It was super fucking cool. Look up Face the Shape, and you can watch the video. It's pretty badass.
We'll put links everywhere.
Yeah. So I'm going to start with this fun fact. So in the original script of Halloween 4, when John Carpenter was still on board for Halloween 4, he had written a sequence where at the end of Halloween 2, you haven't seen Halloween 2, so we have to tell you what happens.
Nope.
They burn... Dr. Loomis and Michael Myers burn up alive together in a hospital room because of this, like, the sequence where Dr. Loomis puts a bunch of, like, this gas on and then lights a fucking lighter and they blow up.
Okay. Gotcha.
As they both survive. Loomis and Michael survive, and as Loomis is getting wheeled out, he's yelling at the people to let it burn. Let it burn. It got cut from the Halloween 4, and it made its way back into Halloween Kills.
Okay.
Which
cool.
I thought was really cool. Anthony Michael Hall was not the first choice to play Tommy Doyle. It was actually Paul Rudd, who played Tommy Doyle in Halloween 6. He had to turn it down because he was filming Ghostbusters Afterlife at the time, which he wasn't, because I feel like he would have brought so much more to that character than Anthony Michael Hall. Because Paul Rudd is a great actor.
Yeah. You know what? Honestly, I think without even seeing it, just visualizing it, I think that would have probably bumped me to a 7.5.
Yeah.
Just with that change of character.
I also don't like that Tommy Doyle was a meathead in this movie and all this. I didn't like that.
The intensity level was a little too much, and I think even in the most intense situations that Paul Rudd plays, he's still, like, I don't know. There's just something about his intensity that is not as angry as other people's intensity, and I think that was my problem with it.
Yeah. Yeah. Anthony Michael Hall overdid it, and it shows. He was a weak point of this movie. He's one of the reasons this movie's as bad as it is. I'm sorry, Anthony Michael Hall, if you're listening. Do better.
And we know you are.
Halloween Kills had the biggest dual opening of all time. So it opened in theaters and on Peacock, and it was the biggest dual opening of all time. It's exciting. It's great. It's great for the fucking franchise.
That is nice.
That's really it for Halloween Kills. I am truthfully really, really excited for Halloween Ends. The whole copycat killer theory that's going around has me fucking feral.
Mm-hmm.
It is exciting. And I like that. I like the idea that Michael Myers is taking a back seat in this film.
Yeah.
I like that. I just can't wait to see what happens in this movie. Before we review Halloween Ends next episode, tell me what you guys are excited about, and we'll see how we feel in a week.
Owen, go for it.
I don't know where to start. It's a good movie. I don't hate it. I really enjoy all the characters. It makes you love the characters, so when they die, you do feel bad. But with the dialogue and stuff, it brings it so much down. And, like, the hospital scene brings it so down as well. So it's still a really fun movie, though. It's enjoyable.
It is, but we're talking about Halloween Ends.
Oh, I thought this was like our review thing. I thought we did this last time, you know?
We did.
We did do this last
time. I guess we really brushed over it. We did brush over it. But I agree with your Halloween Kills review completely. I mean, on a different level, I really do enjoy the film for what it is. I enjoy it for the risks it tried to take. I see what it was trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I enjoy it. By any means, it's not a great movie. It's not.
No.
But I like some aspects of it, like a lot more than I liked in 2018 or even 78. They did some things really well in this movie, and they did other things the exact opposite.
Yep, I agree. Well, as far as ends goes, I'm doing something unique to this one, where I am not watching anything. I have not seen the teaser. I have not seen anything released. I saw, other than what we watched on here.
So other than the official teaser, the very first teaser.
Yeah, that one. The very first release one, just because of the fact that we wanted to do that for you guys. On here, that is the only piece of material that I've seen from this movie, other than the name of a few of the songs.
I'll tell you what,
That's
the
literally
soundtrack for this movie is incredible.
So I'm going in this blind. And I want to go in this blind. I'm not going to watch kills before I do it, but I am
really
going to
Me too.
just gonna go in there and just see what happens, and I'm gonna go in there with a completely open mind. I'm not gonna let the aspects of kills that I don't like influence my decisions going in. And
don't take the success from 2018 in there too.
No, I'm not. I'm going into this one as if it's the first one.
Because that ruined a lot of expectation for kills, was how good 2018 was. And I get that. Yeah, I mean, the trailer for Kills was so promising when it dropped. It looked so goddamn good.
They just promoted the hell out of it, like to a point where I was like, it's gotta be amazing. And then I walked in there and I was like, eh.
And Halloween Ends is barely getting any promotion.
Maybe for that exact reason.
It's stressing me out a little bit, just for box office number wise. I want it to do well.
Well, aren't they done?
Yeah, so I guess it really doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
No.
People are going to see it because it's Halloween, and it doesn't matter because they don't need to crowdsource for another one.
Yeah.
So.
I guess you're right. Maybe that's why they're not doing promotions as hard.
Yeah.
But I'm speaking of Ends, we're going back to talking about Ends now. I am beyond happy that Jamie Lee Curtis has come back after so long to reprise his role. This timeline that we got is really, I like it a lot. I like it better than the original timelines we got. I like that they're not brother and sister anymore. I like that Laurie's batshit crazy. And I like that Michael's not even after her.
Yeah.
I like that she's obsessed with stopping him just as Loomis was. It's cool. It's cool. So, Jamie Lee Curtis, thank you for coming back and making these. I'm excited for Ends. Owen, did you want to touch up on Ends at all?
Yeah, I'll do it right this time. I'm excited. I'm excited after seeing the first teaser. It looks very promising. It feels more like Halloween and more like fall-esque than Halloween Kills was. It didn't really feel like autumn in that one to me. This one feels more like autumn. And, I mean, it's been trending on Twitter for like the last week or so. Halloween Ends has been trending, and so I'm super excited for it, but I'm also worried.
I'm skeptical. They're taking big risks with this movie, and it's either going to be amazing or it's going to be god-awful.
Let's just hope. Let's just go in with hope and blind faith, and we'll see what happens.
I'm somewhat positive, though, because of the reviews, the non-spoiler reviews that we have got. So, we'll see what happens. And on that note, that's it for today's episode. Thanks for joining us for Halloween Kills. Join us next week when we discuss and break down the newest Halloween movie, Halloween Ends. And don't forget to check us out on social media at Creeper100pod. We also have a YouTube page now. Feel free to check out our affiliate links. If you really feel like supporting the channel, you can donate to us at a monthly cost. And no one's left us a voicemail yet. I'm still waiting to hear some shit, guys. So give me your crazy bazaars. Let's get this going.
True.
All right, guys, take it easy. We'll see you next week for Halloween Ends.
All right, see ya.